Welcome to heCast, the official podcast of He Changed It. As always, I'm your host, Mike Chisholm. I am very excited to be doing this podcast, as I always am. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be doing this. Brandon Archer was on the path to becoming a coach for in men's cycling for the Olympic team. He was a high caliber coach, and he has switched gears and become a men's coach. And of course, with the mandate of He Changed It, there's a lot of interest in what he has to say. So Brandon, thank you very much for taking time out of your day to be part of heCast today.
I'm so happy to be here. Yeah,
Yeah?
It's awesome. Absolutely. And that's most men that I've run across. I run some men's groups now, and
Yep.
that is a common theme. What am I doing? Like, what am I doing with my life? I don't get it. Like, I'm trying to find my purpose, and I watch it, and it's very it's interesting because every man wants that.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure it out. And we've been told on a societal level, go to university,
Mm-hmm.
get the job,
Mm-hmm.
get the wife, buy the house, get the car, have the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of guys do that.
Sure.
And then it's like, oh shit, I'm still not happy, but I did all the things I was shown to do.
Right.
What do I do now?
It's interesting. I wonder if it goes along the same path of I read a long time ago. I read the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, and it talked a lot about how guys think and how many times when guys get the girl, they get married. It's like we're hunters, right? And it's like we take that trophy buck or that trophy moose and we put it on the wall and we're like, okay, I got that, and it's done. Check it off the list. It doesn't really talk about why it's on the list or what we do after we check it off the list. And I think men many times do think that way. We want to check things off the list, even if we don't necessarily know why. But when we hit these moments of crisis or these moments of tension, sometimes we don't know why the hell we're doing what we're doing, do we?
No. Most of the time, actually.
And you're running into that with these men's groups that a lot of guys are just not even they don't have any clarity at all.
No.
Do you remember the term when we were growing up? We're both Gen Xers. The midlife crisis. We'd see it maybe in our dads or our dad's friends or our uncles or whoever. We'd see, they hit the late 40s, early 50s, and then they get a divorce and they go out and get a sports car and they date a younger girl and all that kind of stuff. The whole stereotype of a midlife crisis. Do you think this is our midlife crisis?
That's such an awesome question. So if you've ever heard of the book Iron John by Robert Bly, he's a poet, but he wrote a book on men's work. And he, I wouldn't call it a theory, but he presents that men need to have a certain amount of life experience before they actually awake.
Really?
They need to go through all these things before they have the capacity to tie it all together and use it and move themselves forward in life.
Many men our age, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger, have this identity crisis because we were told this is what masculine is, but now we're being told that it's something else entirely. And what we were taught is to borrow the buzzword toxic.
Yes. I want to touch on that toxic thing you said.
Please.
Because in my opinion, anytime almost anybody hears masculine, their brain puts toxic in front of it.
So the word itself is a trigger word without even giving it context.
Exactly.
Okay.
In my opinion, in my experience with people. And that's not what it is.
Right.
Like nobody has any context for what masculinity or even femininity is in a healthy way in our day and age. Like we forgot about this stuff.
Right.
It's completely been left behind, yet it's a part of who we are. It doesn't matter if we're a man or a woman. We have masculine and feminine traits.
Right.
Let's start calling them traits, and that we can understand how they are part of us. Doesn't matter who we are.
So the idea of traits kind of dilutes maybe the triggerness of the word a little bit. If we talk about traits that are common, and they're biological traits, many of them, like
we are predispositions to some of them.
Yep.
but I wouldn't say they're biological.
Okay, interesting. You've already got a course that's going to be done in January for men.
Yeah.
That's going to drop. You're just working on a case study right now.
I am.
To finish it up.
Yeah, I am.
What's that course going to be focused on?
So I did a lot of research, and this is through my men's groups that I did, and then I actually did market research on what do men need and want the most,
Mm-hmm.
and connection and communication with their spouse.
Okay.
Because we don't have those skills. Nobody told us
Right.
what to do.
It's like you were saying earlier, you've got a spouse who's willing to give you what you want, but you didn't even know what to ask for.
No clue.
Okay.
So if we tie back in, I like calling it the life escalator. Went to university, got the house, got the wife, did the kids, got the car. And then you're like, what the hell now?
Yeah.
So the what the hell now, these men are like, I need help.
Right.
I don't know how to talk to my wife. So that's actually why I created this course, is like, how do you communicate with your spouse better?
Right.
But the great thing is through learning how to communicate with your spouse, you learn how to communicate with your kids better and yourself.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can start moving the needle on healing men.
We talk a lot about vulnerability on this podcast, and becoming vulnerable and being able to communicate with vulnerability to your spouse must be a key somewhere along the line in the course, I would think.
Absolutely. It doesn't work if you can't do that.
Yeah.
But where that starts is you have to know yourself. So I shared, my partner asked me, how do you feel?
Yeah.
I couldn't answer that. If I can't answer that, the rest is not going to start working.
Right.
You need to get like in touch with yourself, and so that you can be vulnerable. If you don't know how you're feeling, how can you share with your spouse how you feel?
Is part of your course's design to create some of these awareness, to ask these questions that maybe these guys were just too busy checking things off the list to ever ask themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. It's 9 modules. The first 3 modules are about just getting to know themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. The first one is journaling.
Okay.
As simple as that sounds, as potentially uncomfortable for a man to like, what do you mean you want me to write down what I'm thinking?
Mm-hmm.
It's key. You need to start realizing that you're not your mind. What you're thinking is not actually you. And the best way I've found is write it down and see if you even agree with what you write down.
Okay, so journaling is one of them.
Yeah. Second one is meditating.
Okay.
Because meditating is not what people think it is, number one. Number two, it's another way to start getting in touch with yourself, because those thoughts. So as the journaling and what you write down is not necessarily you, the meditating is taking that to another level and realizing your thoughts on autopilot are definitely not you.
Mm-hmm.
So meditating starts to separate those two things of you, the person and the man, and your thoughts.
Okay. Is there a third?
There is shadow self.
Shadow self.
Shadow work.
Okay.
So it's Carl Jungian, which some people may have heard of his work. He was a student of Sigmund Freud.
Yeah.
And he pioneered, there's disputed whether he pioneered shadow work.
Okay.
But it is similar to ego.
Mm-hmm.
It is it's the accumulation of beliefs and experiences that runs us.
Mm-hmm.
The parts of ourselves that we don't like to admit are actually there.
Okay. Brandon, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here. We really appreciate it a lot. Another amazing conversation, talking about where men are at, where men are going, and where we want to be. We're taking back the phrase man up. And Brandon is certainly out there helping with that idea, with that cause. Thank you very much for taking time out of your day to make heCast a part of it. If you haven't downloaded the beta yet, or we might be in the App Store by the time you hear this, go to hechangedit.com for all of the information. If you have any comments, info@hechangedit.com. Hey, we're just getting started. Thanks for being here with us for heCast, the official podcast of He Changed It. I'm Mike Chisholm.